Welcome back to DaBoot Tragedies. We're going to do something a little different right now. We're going to predict player stats for the upcoming season 2022-2023. We're going to do it by position group. First up, we'll start with the defensive linemen. I'm not going to do everyone on the roster, but I'll do the most important guys, the guys that'll really be getting some playing time. And first up, we're going to go with Tanoh and Granderson. Now, these guys, we'll just start off with their last year stats. Tanoh finished with 18 tackles, 4 sacks. Granderson finished with 25 tackles and 3 sacks. I do think these guys will have a little bit of dip in production just because we're going to assume everyone is healthy for this upcoming season. Davenport, Payton Turner, Cam, Jordan, Onyemata, Tuttle, and everyone on the roster is pretty healthy. So with that being said, I'm going to give these guys around the same amount of stats. Tanoh 15 tackles and 2 sacks. Granderson 15 tackles and 2 sacks. I think they'll both be I won't say they'll be minimal players, but they're just going to be on a rotational base because guys are healthy and guys will be ready to go. Next up, we're going to go with David Onyemata. He only played 11 games last season, started all 11. He was suspended those 6 games for PED use, whatever it was. Don't really remember. But he did come in and play all 11 games and start all 11 games. He finished last season with 34 tackles and 2 sacks. This year, if he plays all 17 games like we're predicting, everyone's healthy, I can see him finishing with 45 tackles, 5 sacks. I believe his career high is 6.5 sacks, so I think he'll be right under that just because we're going to be so good on the defensive line. I think some of those stats will get spread around, but I do think he'll have a very, very solid season for the Saints this upcoming season. We'll go to Tuttle next, who had a very interesting season, for the Saints last season. He played in all 17 games, started 15 games for the Saints, and he had 48 tackles, which is pretty good for a defensive tackle, but he had 0 sacks last year. That has to change this upcoming season. I do think he'll play a little less this upcoming season just because I think we'll slide Davenport, Payton Turner, Cam, Jordan inside sometimes. So that'll take some reps away from him. Contavious Street, who I won't, do a stat thing for. So I think he'll play a little less, but I do think he'll end up with 35 tackles and maybe 1.5 sacks. I think that'll be a solid year for him. He's going to be an occasional starter. I think he'll start 8 to 10 games, maybe rotate some guys, in and out there. But I do think he's a solid player. If he has a year like he had last year, just add a sack or 2 in there. It's an absolutely fantastic year for him with the talent surrounding him. Now let's head to the guys that I know you really came here to look forward to. We'll start with Payton Turner. Obviously, rookie season didn't go as planned. Only played in 5 games. Didn't start any. Was injured. Has shoulder surgery. He's finally been cleared to play. He had 12 tackles last year and 1 sack. Obviously, remember that Panthers game. He went absolutely ballistic. Came onto the scene in his first game. But other than that, didn't really do much for us. This season, I do predict he'll be on a rotational basis because those spots are filled, man, with Davenport and Cam Jordan. But I do think he will finish the season with 30 tackles and 5 sacks. That's a better sophomore season than his 12 tackles, 1 sack, as a rookie. So I think just improving this year, getting some pressures, getting some sacks, getting some run stops, that'll be a good year for him because he won't be starting on a full-time basis. So I got 30 tackles and 5 sacks for Payton Turner. I think that'll be a good season. Hey, yo, click that subscribe button, man. Turn those notifications on, and you won't miss another video from DaBoot Tragedies. Next up, we have no other than Cam Jordan. Obviously, he started off the year slow. Then he had missed a game due to COVID. I think that changed his entire season. He went absolutely ballistic those last couple of games. He finished the season with 12.5 sacks, which is, absolutely amazing for him, and 59 tackles. That was a very, very good season from Cam Jordan, especially on the tail end. We're going to need more consistency from him, especially, in the beginning of the year. He's 32, so he's still in the prime of his career, but you can tell I won't say he's lost a step. He isn't as good as peak Cam Jordan, but the Cam Jordan we still have is still super, super elite. Predicting his stats is hard just because I think he's gonna get rotated a tad bit more this year just to get Payton Turner and Davenport on the field sometimes. But I do think he'll have a really good year. I think he'll finish the season with about 55 tackles and maybe 10 to 11 sacks. So we'll just say 10.5 sacks. I think that's a good season for Cam Jordan. Basically, almost replicating this season, but just making it more consistent. And not super, super heavy for like 3 or 4 games, having really, really good games, and having 3 to 4 games where he's just kind of non-existent in the pass rush. But still a leader of this defense. Still think he'll have a good season for sure. Next up, we have Marcus Davenport. Obviously, talent is there. He's coming into his 5th season, with the Saints. Last year, he played 11 games, started 9, finished the season with 9 tackles for loss. We're going to throw that in here for him. 39 total tackles and 9 sacks, which was a career high. His previous career high was 6 sacks. Previous career high was 31 tackles. So I mean, the guy obviously had his best, performance as a Saint, best year in the NFL. And I think this season will be the season. He finally got that pinky situation handled. He's coming off a really, really good season. Almost had double-digit sacks in only 11 games. Going to be a 17-game season. I think this the year that Marcus Davenport finally just, take the reins from Cam Jordan. It's been a minute. Cam Jordan's kind of been losing the step. Davenport's been gaining. Davenport's getting more and more healthy. Hopefully, this is the year. So my predictions for Marcus Davenport in the 2022-2023 season might sound a little crazy. If this guy is fully healthy and he plays 17 games, I'm predicting minimum 50 tackles on the season, 16 sacks, a Pro Bowl appearance, and an All-Pro appearance for Marcus Davenport. That's how much talent I believe he has. That's how good I think he can be and will be this next season. He just has to stay on the field. If he stays on the field, I'm predicting at least 16 sacks, at least 50 tackles from this guy. He's that good. I think he'll finally show up and show out to the league, while we traded those 2 first-round picks or used 2 first-round picks to get him. Last year was a great, great stepping stone, finishing with 9 sacks. I think this year, 16 sacks for him. He just has to stay healthy, and if he's on that field, it definitely can't happen. That'll wrap up my predictions for the defensive linemen. Let me know what y'all think, man. You can use the guys I said, or you can just, make up your own stats for everyone if you want, but let me know in the comments below. Let me know what position group you want me to do next. Don't say quarterbacks, because I'm probably going to save them for last, because I know everyone wants to know what Jameis Winston's going to do this year. So we got the quarterbacks, or we can do the running backs, or we can do the receivers up next, like I said, or I guess we can do receivers and tight ends together. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, comment. We'll be in the comments talking about it, man. Also, everyone that's watched the Madden Sim, hey, I know it's dead period right now. There's no training camp. There's no news. I appreciate y'all for watching, and we're going to do every last game up into the playoffs. We might live stream some playoff games if the Saints make it in the simulation seat. I appreciate y'all for watching those, man. And don't forget the question and answers, thing in the community tab. Please comment some questions. I will be answering those. But as always, just DaBoot Tragedies, and I'm out.